Dr. Hai-Jin looked up from her research notes as the station's alarm began to sound. She had been working on her report about peaceful alien cultures when the loud noise filled the air. Around her, other scientists and diplomats stopped what they were doing and looked around with worry. "What is that sound?" asked Ambassador Neela, her tall blue form moving gracefully across the room. The Vellani alien's large eyes showed concern as she touched her temple with one long finger. "I sense fear from the communications room." "Commander." Taeho's voice came through the speakers. "All senior staff to the main conference room. We have received an emergency signal." Hee-Jin put down her work and walked quickly through the metal halls of the research station. The Harmony's Edge was a peaceful place, floating in space near the beautiful world of Vellani Prime. For 3 years she had lived here studying how different alien races could work together. It was quiet work, but important work. The conference room was full when she arrived. Aliens from many different worlds sat around the large table. There were the crystal-like Thek people, the furry mall traders, and the tall Vellani diplomats. Everyone looked worried. "Play the message again," said Commander Taeho. He was one of only 4 humans on the station. His face was serious as he looked at the big screen. The message began to play. It was broken and full of static, but the words were clear enough to understand. The voice spoke in 17 different languages at the same time, which meant this was a galaxy-wide emergency. "Call. This is Captain Vector of the Outer Rim Colonies. We are under attack by an unknown enemy. They call themselves the Vorthak. They have already destroyed 3 worlds. Their ships number in the thousands. They use weapons that poison entire planets. Anyone who can help, please respond. We cannot stop them alone." The message cut off with more static. The room was quiet for a long moment. Then everyone began talking at once. 10,000 ships, said Chief Engineer Crix, his crystal body flashing with worried colors. "Our entire fleet has less than 2,000 vessels." "The Vorthak," whispered a mole trader. "I have heard stories from the far edge of space. They take prisoners and change them into living weapons." Ambassador Neela stood up. "We must respond immediately. The Galactic Cooperative exists to help in times like this." Commander Taeho nodded and pressed a button on the table. "Communications, send word to all member worlds. Tell them we need every ship they can spare. Also, send the distress call to all known space-traveling civilizations, even the ones not in the cooperative." Over the next few hours, responses began coming in. The news was both good and bad. Good because many worlds wanted to help. Bad because their help would not be enough. The peaceful Vellani could send 200 ships, but they were designed for exploration, not fighting. The Thek had mining ships with strong hulls, but their weapons were meant for breaking rocks, not enemy vessels. The mall traders had fast ships, but they were built for carrying goods, not for war. "We have counted all the ships," said Crix, his colors now flashing red with fear. 847 research vessels, 312 patrol, craft, 156 diplomat ships with no weapons at all, and 89 cargo ships we can put mining lasers on. "That is less than 1,500 ships," said Taeho quietly, "against 10,000 Vorthak warships." "What about the other space-traveling races?" asked Hee-Jin. "The ones not in the cooperative?" "Most have responded," said the communications officer. "The Zith Empire is sending what they can. The Free Traders Alliance promises support. The neutral worlds will take refugees but cannot fight." "What about Earth?" asked Ambassador Neela. "Surely the humans can help." The room went quiet. Hee-Jin felt all eyes turn to her. She was the only human scientist on the station, and everyone knew that her people were smart and resourceful. "We sent the message to Earth 3 hours ago," said the communications officer. "No response yet." "That is strange," said Taeho. "Earth always responds quickly to emergency calls." Hee-Jin felt worry growing in her chest. When was the last time anyone heard from Earth? "Let me check," said the communications officer working at his console. After a few minutes, he looked up with a puzzled expression. "The last official message from Earth was 3 years ago. It was very short. It said that humanity was withdrawing From joint operations to focus on internal development. They asked that no one approach the Sol system. 3 years? Hyejin stood up quickly. That cannot be right. Humans do not just disappear. We are always exploring, always curious about what is happening in the galaxy. The message also said, something else, continued the communications officer. It said, do not approach the Sol system, and gave coordinates for safe travel routes that avoid Earth's space. Ambassador Neela's large eyes grew even larger. Could something have happened to your homeworld? I do not know, said Hyejin. But I need to try to contact them. If the Vorthak are as dangerous as the message says, we need every ship, every weapon, every idea we can get. Do it, said Commander Taeho. Try every frequency, every emergency channel. Earth has to respond. Hyejin spent the next 6 hours in the communications room. She tried military channels, scientific networks, and even old emergency frequencies that were supposed to work only in the worst disasters. Nothing. Earth's entire solar system was silent. Then, just as she was about to give up, her console beeped. A signal was coming from the Sol system, but not from Earth itself. The signal came from somewhere much farther out, past the outer planets. This is Admiral Dongwu of the Terra Defense Initiative, said a calm male voice. Dr. Hyejin, we have been monitoring your attempts to contact Earth. We received the cooperative's distress signal 72 hours ago. Hyejin's hands shook as she responded. Admiral, the galaxy is under attack. We need help. The Vorthak have thousands of ships and weapons that can kill entire worlds. We are aware of the situation, said Admiral Dongwu. His voice was cold and professional. We have been watching the Vorthak expansion for some time. Evacuation plans are being prepared for non-combat species. Military deployment begins now. Military deployment? Hyejin felt confused. Admiral, what military? Earth's. Last message said you were focusing on internal development. There was a pause. Then Admiral Dongwu spoke again, and his words made Hyejin's blood turn cold. Dr. Hyejin, the internal development is complete. We have been preparing for this day for 3 years. Tell the cooperative to clear the battle space. Human warships are moving to intercept the Vorthak fleet. How many ships? She asked. Enough, said the Admiral. Coordinates are being transmitted now. Keep all civilian vessels at least 1 million kilometers from the combat zone. We will contact you when the threat is eliminated. The signal cut off. Hyejin stared at the silent console for a long moment. Then she ran back to the conference room where the alien leaders were still trying to plan their desperate defense. What did Earth say? Asked Commander Taeho when she burst through the door. They are coming, she said, breathing hard. But something is wrong. Very wrong. They have been preparing for this for 3 years. They knew this was going to happen. How is that possible? Asked Ambassador Neela. I do not know, said Hyejin. But I think we are about to learn something about humanity that we never knew before. Outside the station's windows, the stars looked the same as always. But somewhere in the darkness, both an ancient enemy and humanity's secret fleet were moving toward a collision that would change the galaxy forever. 2 days after Admiral Dongwu's message, the first human ships arrived at the rally point. Dr. Hyejin watched through the observation window as the vessels came out of hyperspace, and her mouth fell open in shock. These were not the small, peaceful ships that humans had used for the past 20 years. These were massive war machines, each one larger than the biggest station in the Galactic Cooperative. The lead ship was so huge that it blocked out the stars behind it. By the 7 moons, whispered Ambassador Neela. What have your people built? Commander Taeho stood beside them, his face pale. Those are not exploration ships. Those are built for war. Real war. The communication system crackled to life. This is Captain Jaemin of the Terra Defense Fleet. All cooperative vessels, please move to the designated safe zone. We are beginning combat operations. Hyejin grabbed the microphone. Captain Jaemin, this is Dr. Hyejin. What is happening? Where did these ships come from? Doctor, good to hear from you, came the reply. Captain Jaemin's voice was calm but serious. These ships have been under construction for 3 years. We knew something like the Vorthak would eventually appear. How did you know? She asked. Because we studied the galaxy's history. Every few thousand years, a species like the Vorthak appears. They grow strong by attacking peaceful worlds that cannot defend themselves. We decided to be ready. More human ships kept arriving. Heejin counted 47 of the massive battleships. Then came smaller vessels, hundreds of them. Some looked like they were built to carry fighters. Others had huge guns that could probably destroy a small moon. "How many ships do you have?" asked Commander Tejo. "Enough to do the job," said Captain Jamin. "We have been tracking the Vorthak fleet for weeks. They are coming through the Kepler system. We will meet them there." Ambassador Neela touched her temple and closed her eyes. "I sense great sadness from the human ships. Also, something else. Something that frightens me." "What do you mean?" asked Yejin. "Your people are not afraid of the coming battle. They are looking forward to it." That night, Heejin could not sleep. She went to the communication room and tried to contact Earth directly. To her surprise, someone answered. "This is General Sujin, Earth Defense Command. Dr. Hyejin, I have been expecting your call." "General, I need to understand what is happening. 3 years ago, humans were peaceful explorers. Now you have the largest war fleet in the galaxy. How is this possible?" General Sujin was quiet for a moment. "Doctor, do you remember your Earth history? Do you remember how humans lived before we reached the stars?" "Yes, but that was different. We were primitive then. We have grown beyond our violent past." "No," said the general. "We just hid it. The Galactic Cooperative is made up of species that evolved on gentle worlds. Your people never had to fight. For survival every single day. Earth is what we call a death world. Everything on our planet tries to kill everything else. But we learned to be peaceful," Hyejin said. "We learned to act peaceful," the general corrected. "We learned to smile and trade and explore because that is what the galaxy wanted from us. But we never forgot how to fight. We never forgot that the universe is a dangerous place." "So you built all these ships in secret?" "We built them because we knew that someday the galaxy would need us to be what we really are. Humans are not explorers who learned to fight. We are fighters who learned to explore." The communication ended, leaving Hyejin alone with her thoughts. The next morning brought news that changed everything. The Vorthak had attacked another system, and this time, they had met human forces. The battle lasted 14 minutes, reported Captain Jamin. 47 Vorthak ships attacked our patrol group. None of them survived. "What about your losses?" asked Commander Tejo. 2 ships have minor damage. 1 needs new paint." The alien leaders looked at each other in shock. 14 minutes. The Vorthak had been destroying entire worlds, and the humans had wiped out nearly 50 of their ships in 14 minutes. "Captain," said Ambassador Neela carefully, "the Vorthak are known for their cruelty. They use captured populations as living shields. How will you deal with this?" Captain Jamin's voice became colder. "We have studied their tactics. We know they will try to use innocents as weapons. We have prepared for this." "What do you mean?" asked Hyejin. "We will do what is necessary to win," said the captain. "We will make the hard choices that other species cannot make. That is why we are here." Ambassador Neela tried to read the captain's thoughts, but she quickly pulled back. I cannot understand what I see in human minds. You think about war the way we think about mathematics. Cold, calculating, efficient." "That is because we are good at it," said Captain Jamin. "We have had millions of years of practice." Over the next few days, more reports came in. Human ships were appearing throughout the galaxy, always in small groups, always where they were needed most. They attacked Vorthak scouts, rescued trapped civilians, and destroyed enemy supply lines. The Vorthak, who had been winning every battle, suddenly found themselves losing. Their ships were faster, but human ships could take more damage. Their weapons were powerful, but human weapons were designed to kill, not just wound. "The Vorthak are changing their tactics," reported Dr. Young-ho, a human scientist who had been studying the enemy. "They are pulling back their scattered forces. They are gathering for one massive attack." "Where?" asked Admiral Dongwu. "The Kepler system. Every Vorthak ship in the galaxy is heading there, over 8,000 vessels. Good, said the Admiral. It will be easier to destroy them all in one place. Yi Jin felt a chill at the Admiral's words. Admiral, 8,000 ships. Even with your fleet, the numbers are against you. Doctor, you still do not understand. We are not fighting to match their numbers. We are fighting to win, and humans always find a way to win. But what if you cannot win? Asked Ambassador Neela. What if there are too many of them? Admiral Dongwu's voice was quiet when he answered. Then we will make sure that when we die, we take so many of them with us that the survivors will never dare to attack anyone again. That is the human way. As the human fleet prepared for the final battle, Yi Jin realized that she had never really known her own species. For 20 years, she had thought of humans as peaceful explorers who happened to come from Earth. Now she understood the truth. Humans were not peaceful people who could fight when necessary. They were warriors who had chosen to be peaceful for the good of the galaxy. And now that peace was over, the Vorthak had made a terrible mistake. They had attacked a galaxy protected by the most dangerous species in the known universe. They had declared war on the children of Earth, and Earth's children were coming home to fight. In the darkness of space, two fleets moved toward each other. One was larger and had been winning every battle for months. The other was smaller but carried the fury of a world where everything was a weapon, and only the strongest survived. The galaxy was about to learn why humans called their homeworld a death world, and why that made them the most dangerous species in the universe. The Kepler system had become a graveyard of ships. Dr. Hyojin watched from the safety of the Harmony's edge as the largest space battle in galactic history unfolded before her eyes. The Vorthak fleet was massive. Over 8,000 ships spread across space like a dark cloud. Their vessels were ugly things covered in spikes and designed to look frightening. In the center of their formation were the largest ships Yi Jin had ever seen, massive carriers holding thousands of smaller attack craft. They outnumber the human fleet 5-1, said Commander Tae-ho, studying the tactical display. Numbers do not always win battles, said Admiral Dongwu's voice over the communication system. Sometimes the right strategy is more important than the biggest army. The human fleet looked tiny compared to the Vorthak armada. But as Yi Jin watched, she noticed something strange. The human ships were not staying together. They were splitting into 3 groups. Admiral, what is your plan? Asked Ambassador Neela. We are going to teach the Vorthak why you should never attack a death world, came the reply. The battle began with Captain Jae-min's group charging straight at the Vorthak center. His ships opened fire while they were still far away, their weapons sending streams of light across the darkness. The Vorthak returned fire and space filled with explosions. The humans are taking heavy damage, reported the tactical officer. Several ships are showing hull breaches, but the human ships kept coming. Even when their hulls were torn open and fires burned inside them, they continued to fight. Yi Jin watched in horror as one human ship, with half its front section blown away, rammed straight into a Vorthak carrier. Why are they not retreating? Asked a Maul trader. They are losing ships, because they are not trying to win this fight, said Admiral Dongwu calmly. They are trying to keep the Vorthak busy. While the Vorthak fleet focused on Captain Jaemin's group, the other 2 human forces moved to their positions. General Sujin's ships appeared behind the Vorthak fleet, while Dr. Young-ho's experimental vessels moved to the side. All units, execute Phase 2, ordered Admiral Dongwu. What happened next changed everything. Yi Jin thought she knew about space combat. General Sujin's ships did not fire their weapons. Instead, they launched thousands of small objects that looked like metal seeds. The Vorthak ignored them, thinking they were just debris from the battle. They were wrong. The small objects attached themselves to Vorthak ships and began to cut through their hulls. Within minutes, human soldiers were inside the enemy vessels, fighting hand-to-hand in the corridors. Boarding parties, whispered Commander Tae-ho. They are taking the ships from the inside. But the real surprise came from Dr. Young-ho's group. His ships fired weapons that Yi Jin had never seen before. Instead of energy beams or missiles, they shot metal rods that moved faster than anything should be able to move. When the rods hit Vorthak ships, they did not explode. They simply punched through them like needles through paper. Ships that had been fighting one moment were floating dead in space the next. "Kinetic weapons," said Dr. Young-Ho over the communication system. "We accelerate metal to near light speed. No shields can stop pure physics." The Vorthak fleet, which had been winning every battle for months, suddenly found itself being destroyed from 3 directions at once. Their commanders tried to reorganize, but human tactics changed faster than they could respond. "They are adapting," said Admiral Dongwu. "Good, we prepared for that too." The Vorthak played their final card. From their largest ships came a sight that made every alien on the Harmony's edge gasp in horror. Thousands of smaller vessels, but these were not regular ships. They were filled with prisoners from conquered worlds, families, children, elderly, aliens who had been captured and turned into living weapons. "They are using innocence as shields," said Ambassador Neela, her voice breaking. "Surely the humans will not fire on helpless people." But the human ships did not slow down. If anything, they moved faster. "All units. This is Admiral Dongwu. Enemy is using captured civilians as weapons. Rules of engagement are now unrestricted. Eliminate all threats." "Admiral, no," shouted Hyojin. "Those are innocent people." "Doctor," said Admiral Dongwu, his voice cold as ice. "Those people are already dead. The Vorthak have changed them into weapons. If we do not stop them now, they will be used to kill millions more." The human fleet opened fire on the converted civilians. Hyojin watched in horror as the weapons that had been people were destroyed along with their Vorthak controllers. "How can you do this?" asked Ambassador Neela, tears running down her blue face. "Because we are the only species that can," said General Sujin. "We are the only ones who can make the hard choices. We are the only ones who can do what is necessary to win." The Vorthak fleet was breaking apart. Their numbers meant nothing against human tactics. Their weapons could not penetrate human shields. Their cruelty was matched by human efficiency. "Vorthak command ship is trying to escape," reported Captain Jae-min. "Negative," said Admiral Dongwu. "No survivors, no retreats. They chose to start this war. We will finish it." The battle ended 3 hours after it began. Of the 8,000 Vorthak ships, none remained. The few escape pods that launched were captured by human forces. The galaxy was safe. But the price of that safety was the innocence of everyone who had watched the battle. "What happens now?" asked Commander Tae-ho. "Now we go home," said Admiral Dongwu. "The threat is ended. The Galactic Cooperative is safe." "And what about the future?" asked Ambassador Neela. "What about the next threat? The next war?" "There will not be a next war," said Admiral Dongwu. "We have sent a message to every species in the galaxy. Attack the Cooperative and you attack Earth. Attack Earth and you will learn why we call our world a death world." Over the following months, the galaxy changed. The cooperative worlds were rebuilt. Trade resumed. Peace returned. But it was a different kind of peace than before. Human ships now patrolled the borders of known space. Human soldiers trained the defense forces of peaceful worlds. Human scientists worked to develop better weapons and shields. The galaxy was safe, but everyone knew the price of that safety. They were protected by the most dangerous species in the universe. The humans had saved them all, but they had also shown what they were truly capable of. Dr. Hyojin returned to her research station, but her work had changed. Instead of studying peaceful alien cultures, she now studied how different species could work together in the new galaxy. A galaxy where humanity had taken its place as the guardian and protector of all peaceful worlds. She often thought about the battle and the choices that had been made. The humans had saved millions of lives by taking thousands. They had brought peace through war. They had protected the innocent by doing terrible things. Was it worth it? She asked herself one night, looking out at the stars. In the distance, a human patrol ship moved silently through space, watching for threats that might never come. Its crew was ready to fight, ready to die, ready to make the hard choices that no other species could make. The galaxy slept peacefully, protected by the children of Earth. And in the deep darkness between the stars, the word spread to every corner of the universe. Do not attack the peaceful worlds. Do not threaten the innocent. Do not make war on those who cannot defend themselves, because if you do, the Deathworlders will come for you. And they will not stop, they will not retreat, and they will not show mercy. The humans had shown the galaxy what they really were. Now the galaxy would never forget.